Yeah. All right. Okay. We can get a picture and then I'll go ahead and finish it Today, we now proceed to admit you into membership in the Rotary Club of Flint, and so to the Fellowship of Rotary throughout the world. It has already been explained to you that the ideal of Rotary is service, and our principal motto is service above self. The object of this club and all Rotary clubs is to encourage and foster this ideal as a basis of worthy enterprise. You now share in that effort. You have been approved for membership in this club because we believe you to be a worthy representative of your vocation, interested in the ideals of Rotary, and willing to do your share in translating these ideals into tangible realities. You have agreed to accept these obligations as part of your membership to this club and to follow the club's constitution and bylaws. We also hope that you'll feel very welcome to be an active member in all our club's activities through service, through fellowship, because that's how we really engage each other in what it means to be a Rotarian. Now I've got the pleasure of asking the proposers to present some of these welcoming gifts. And next time I'll have it out of the packaging already. First, it looked like a book of matches. I thought, well, we're really not giving the same welcome that we used to.
Okay, first we're gonna put this. Maybe. Okay, if I say I'm.
No, I will.
Right, Dr. Bobby.
Yeah, we have medical care.
No, a little on the short side. You might bend down a little. Thank you.
Better?
There we go.
All right.
And the official Rotary
Thank
nod.
you.
And
Oh, great, thanks.
so with that, we are very pleased to have you officially as part of the Rotary Club of Flint. Fellow Rotarians, I present to you our newest Rotarian, Dave Perry.
Thank you.
So just to offer a few highlights and announcements here. So first of all, I want to offer a very, very sincere thank you to the Rotarians who attended the concert for Ukraine or for who purchased tickets in order to be able to contribute that way. I also want to extend a tremendous thank you to some special folks who were involved in putting it together. That includes Anne Marie Van Dyne, who really did a lot to try to pull together all of the administrative coordination that's involved with putting on a show of that caliber in such a short amount of time, and then handling the marketing and the publicity and the outreach and the ticketing, all of that. So a big thank you to Anne Marie. Also want to thank Rodney Lontine, who is of course another Rotarian and part of the leader of the Flint Institute of Music, whose involvement was likewise absolutely critical to that moving forward. So this was an area-wide effort. So certainly also recognizing Al Tucker, who's there on Zoom today, for his support in helping to coordinate the efforts among the clubs in our region. We were able to make a contribution. So I don't have the exact figure in terms of the dollar amount, but that's something that we'll look to provide to you in the future. But again, thank you so much. That was a great effort for everybody involved. So appreciate that. 540 tickets. All right, that's a pretty good group there. In terms of other announcements, I did want to provide one health and welfare update. I understand that Fred Hines is back in the hospital, although he is hopefully going to be released within the next day or so, likely to a rehab facility for a short while. So please think of him, keep him in your thoughts. You may want to reach out to him. His You can try calling him, which I did, but his voicemail is full. So if he picks up, great. And if not, then you can always try again later. Any other health or welfare announcements that folks care to make from the floor or on Zoom? Okay. Any guests that we have here today? Dave, Terry, we can't call you a guest anymore. You're official. How about on Zoom? Did I see Gloria on Zoom?
Hi, yes, I am.
All right, so Gloria, we have Gloria is a guest, a returning guest, and hopefully a very soon new member as well. Welcome. All right. So if there's no other guests to be welcome, then we'll go ahead with our 50-50 raffle. And today it's Rob Bennett, past President Rob Bennett.
Hi, Becky. Yeah, please.
All right, we have our board treasurer involved now here pulling the tickets.
Yeah. Good. Honest.
All right.
83378.
Oh, Don Hitter.
Don.
All
All right.
right. With the folded one.
83361.
Oh,
Marie.
Marie's there.
Cool. Of course. And the lucky winner is 83316.
All right.
Joy.
Joy.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Rob. All right, so a nice, honest, legit raffle there. Yes, Jerry.
I have a question. Can someone tell us the summary of the success of the Ukrainian fundraising? If you said the number, I didn't hear it.
So I have the number of tickets sold, which is 540, the money, yeah. So we don't yet have the net information from FIM, but that's something that I've been committed to getting that information as well, so that we can inform you of exactly what the net proceeds were. Yep, will do. All right, so with that, we're going to proceed to the program, which I will introduce the guest speaker, who is me and several of your colleagues today. And there's this lovely presentation that I'm sure I can also find a way to email out to all of you as a PDF afterwards. You can see the graphics and whatnot. At least the folks on Zoom can see it. So as a note to the presenters who follow me, you're just gonna have to push it down to when you're ready to advance the slide. So you're at the start of a new Rotary year. And so as you can tell, the theme for this year is Imagine Rotary. And that's the theme that was picked by our new Rotary International President, Senator Jones. And she's actually the first woman to ever lead Rotary International. So she is somebody who is prepared for this role. She's actually just our neighbor across the way. She's from Windsor, Ontario. And so certainly a lot of the visions that she's put forth for Rotary International this year are also in sync with what our club has indicated that we're interested in doing, in particular around things like diversity, equity, inclusion, which she's made a big part of her efforts, and that is definitely part of our centerpiece from our strategic plan as well. So just to refresh you about what some of those core elements were from our strategic plan. Diversity, equity, inclusion, that's one central theme. The two other central themes from that had to do with service and stewardship, as well as Rotary engagement. And those are all reinforcing sorts of things. You can see that that has already started to perhaps influence some of the ways that we've been operating over the last few months, and will continue to guide us in that direction as we move forward through the next Rotary year. Some of the things that you'll perhaps see in terms of practical changes. One you've already probably seen is the pledge card. Looked a little bit different this time. One of our committee co-chairs is going to have a chance to walk us through a little bit more about that as part of their presentation a little bit later on. But you're also going to see that we're going to be focusing on some things like ease of access. We have been wanting to do more in terms of enabling people to participate remotely if that's best for them. Hence, we're still doing the Zoom even as we're in person here. But we're also going to be looking to see what can we do to facilitate like more cashless options, because not everybody necessarily carries dollar bills in their pockets. Some do, some don't. And some people might find there's different ways of paying for your membership that makes sense for you. So those are things that we're going to be looking to try to advance so that we are able to be more accessible in more ways to Rotarians and potential Rotarians. You'll hear more about education and engagement. You know, I'm very intentionally not going to be talking the entire time myself. I'm going to be sharing the podium with our committee chairs and co-chairs, because we want to make sure that our committees are lively and engaged, and that we all know what they're up to in ways to be involved with that. So the real emphasis on using some of the time in our meetings to be able to share more about what we're doing as a Rotary Club and what Rotary is doing writ large, because we're, you know, our closest connection is to the folks that are part of this club, but we are part of an international fellowship. And so that's one of the real ways in which we can try to connect more with that global, with our global counterparts as well. Something else that you will hear more about down the line that we're still working towards, but we've made a centerpiece of the strategic plan, is trying to make financial stewardship an important part of how we think about our roles as Rotarians and the good that we're going to do in our community and globally longer term. So you're going to hear more about some things that we have in the works with that, in particularly around things like how do we build our local endowments so that we can continue to make substantial financial gifts to the organizations in our local community, as well as to various projects, and do that as we also are welcoming Rotarians whose maybe primary mode of giving is more geared towards service and not as much towards dollars as it may have been in the past. So there's things that we can be doing along that line now to prepare for the ways in which our community and our club may be changing. So just a note in terms of that financial giving piece of it, there's one of the things that Rotary International tracks is what percentage of Rotarians donate to the Rotary International Foundation. So like towards getting something like a Paul Harris Fellow. And so our club, we actually give collectively a pretty significant dollar amount each year from our club. But we find that just over half of our Rotarians, at least for the last year, just over a half actually made some sort of donation towards the Rotary Foundation. So that's something that if you haven't yet filled your pledge card out, or if you did and you might want to think about, is there, even if it's a $20 donation, you know, something that you might be in a position to put forward in order to help support that Rotary International Foundation work, because that again is one of the ways that we are able to really participate in that global citizenship. And you know, when you think about the motivation to give towards something like the Concert for Ukraine, you know, that's a very meaningful way as well to be able to contribute to the various international efforts that Rotary International does. So I'll talk just again a little bit about the committee restructuring process, because that's where we're going to spend a lot of the remaining time today, is focusing in on that. So you might recall from our club assembly back in April that in previous points we had something like 33 different club committees, which is like, you know, a committee for every person in the room pretty much. We don't have 33 committees anymore. We have 6. And so we're going to give each of those committees an opportunity today to talk a little bit about their work and their involvement. And also for you to be able to learn more about what they do so that you could be thinking about how might you like to be part of that. Because for this to be a thriving club, it really does involve us all. And we all have gifts and talents that we can contribute. And when we do that from a place of passion and interest, that's where this club really blossoms. So with that, I'm going to invite up the leadership of the administration committee, which is led by Jerry Hill as the chair and board member Patrick Naswell as the co-chair. So let's give a round of applause.
Here, let me start this. A good leader passes your work on to somebody who has talent.
You're stealing my thunder, man.
Oh, okay.
Not
for long.
So I was gonna say that Jerry's first task as the chair of the committee was to delegate speaking to me. So the administration committee is really responsible for helping the club, just helping to facilitate communications with everyone who has had a role in helping these meetings go smoothly, right? And so that's our goal, is to help club meetings function well and support Rotary's mission around service and leadership. Jerry is the chair, I'm the co-chair, and so when there are questions, comments, emotional outbursts, we're the people to talk to, okay? And the members are to be confirmed for this year. There are folks who've been carrying on duties related to the club for years and years. We don't want to keep that for granted. So we'll be reaching out to folks who have been helping with speakers, helping with fellowship, et cetera, to make sure that they want to continue in those roles and to offer our assistance wherever we can. Some opportunities and ideas for club administration in the future include things like having either quarterly or semi-annual social gatherings. So making that a more formal part of what we do, having some of our social gatherings, connect with other Rotary clubs or other service clubs, right? And then another thing would be to look into club history for those who are interested in that sort of thing, right? So better telling our story, understanding our history, and the meaning and impact that the club has had over the years. That's something that I am very interested in, and I know that we want to do as a club. If you could have seen President Jordan's beautiful PowerPoint presentation, she made a slide for me to help announce an upcoming event that was being offered by the Greater Flint Sunrise Rotary Club as something that we might be able to join them in, and it's the Flint River Summer Kayaking Adventure. Put an exclamation point there. The when and the where of that is Thursday, August 11th at 5 p.m. on the Flint River. It courtesy again of the Greater Flint Sunrise Rotary. And the reason for doing it is because you love Rotary, you love the outdoors, you want to relax with your friends here in Rotary and with other friends in the community. Questions about it can be directed to Jerry or myself. Emotional outbursts, same. But if you want to register, contact Carl Olmstead or Jim Milanowski. And if the PowerPoint is forwarded, you'll have their email address. All right. Okay. Then handing off to Marissa Pierce. Right.
Oh, thank you both. All right. And yes, we will follow up with the weekly message for next week. You'll have a copy of the PowerPoint, and then we'll also be sure to highlight the contact information so that if you want to do a little bit of kayaking on the river with some fellow Rotarians, that you can register to do that. So I'd like to invite up next, we have Connie Peters again up here at the podium, and I believe Marissa is online. So Marissa, if you care to unmute and chime in, you're welcome to do that as well.
Okay, the first thing I want to do as a communications team is I'd like to have the members of the team come up so that you have faces to put with everybody. You already know these folks, they're all family. So Brian Sanderson, if you please come up, Joy, and I don't know where Dawn ran off to. She was with me a minute ago and I lost her. So basically what this group is going to be doing this year is we are going to keep everybody connected, informed. We want to brag about our awesome club. We want to make sure that you know activities are going on like Patrick was talking about. So these are some of the things we're going to be doing. So Marissa is the co-chair. I'm the chair. Brian is in charge of the club website. And that's www.flintrotary.org. Look at the cringe on his face. He's doing a great job, you guys. But what his task is going to be this year is to get our club website up to snuff. We realize there's some documents that might need to be replaced, updated, maybe format what people like to see. And if you check it out, in fact, he just recently did it like yesterday, added the Facebook link on our website. So if you go to the website and you want to get to Facebook, just click on that big Facebook icon and it'll take you right to the Facebook page. Joy is going to be in charge of public relations. So we're going to try to attempt to get some media coverage, some outreach, so people have more of an idea of what we're doing this year. We have an awesome group, and Rotary accomplishes a lot in our community and globally. So let's tell our story so more people know about it, and everything else will sort of fall in and people will become members and they want to be more involved so they can help make that change. Also, Dawn, who was here a minute ago, she is in charge of the newsletter. I don't know about you folks, but I think she does a phenomenal job with that. And I literally begged on my knees for her to stay on with that, and she readily agreed. So if you've got content to put on any of these areas, or you want to talk to anybody about something that you think is a good idea, contact the people in the team and let them know, because these are some of the things that come from you that shows interest that maybe we didn't think about. So the more people we have with input, the better it is. I talked to Nick really extensively last week, and we were sort of brainstorming an idea about how we could do maybe a member spotlight. Now, I know this has been done in the past, but we want to do something a little bit more fun, untraditional with it. And we're still thinking, the wheels are spinning and there's smoke coming out of our ears. So if you guys have some ideas that you'd like to do, that would be great. Anything, like I said, to do with the website, PR, the newsletter, please contact these people directly. They are the pros on the committee. And if you've got anything else that you'd like to share, we love suggestions, ideas, please come to us. We want to hear what you're thinking. So make sure you get that to us. And remember, we're the communications team. Have you.
No, and they are a dynamic team, like any suggestion that has come out so far, they're like on it. So yeah, when I looked at the Rotary webpage today, like, oh my gosh, there's already this giant Facebook button there, which we did on purpose. Actually, because one of the things that we're hoping to do that's like low hanging fruit is who in here has a Facebook account? Okay, a lot of hands. So if any of you who raise your hand, you have a Facebook account, but you don't currently like the Rotary Club of Flint page, please, before you go home for the evening today, make a point to just go to our Facebook page. If you're not sure where that's at, just go to our website and then you click on the button there. It'll take you right there. Click the little thumbs up like button, and then that will connect you with information about our posts and our club activities. As we're doing more fun things like going kayaking on the Flint River or various other things, I won't steal anybody's thunder, but we want to be able to share that information, not just with you, but if you're liking it or if you're like sharing those posts yourself, that's a great way to get other people involved with Rotary and aware of what we're doing. So if that's something that you wouldn't mind doing, that would certainly be one very easy way that we can help our communications team out as they work to spread the word. So next up, I'd like to invite our chair and co-chair from the membership committee, which is Jeremy Peters and Nick Godlewski.
Hesitated way too long on that clap. Way too long. As membership, I've got Jeremy Peters here. Hey, Jeremy.
Good
It's
job,
been a
Nick.
while. I want to thank Rob Jewell because he always said, have a backup plan because electronics don't always work. So I was running out of the house. Well, I don't know. And then I go, but you never know. So I grabbed this real quick as I was running out. Man, thank you, Rob Jewell. You're welcome. That was fantastic. I would like, yeah, pen. Yeah, I would like to commend Kyle for Peace for Transfer of Power. That was actually.
I don't take any for granted.
Had a group of guys.
I saw him. Membership committee, which we've had a little bit of collaboration with Connie and the committee over there. Jeremy Peters and I are chair, co-chair. And basically it's broke up of 4 different parts. Recruitment, number 1, orientation and education is number 2. Health and welfare is number 3, and diversity, equity, inclusion, which kind of encompasses everything we're doing too, which I'm really learning is much easier when you have an international organization to have much more resources there. As far as recruitment goes, we mentioned the service option for an alternative to try to make it so we're more inclusive to some people that can't just be part of a check writing club. Everybody hears it every year. Oh, we're the check writing club. And so the service option will make it so you can, instead of maybe paying X amount of dollars, make a commitment to a couple of service events. Yeah, events? Committee events. And so that's one of the things that we're trying to do to make things a little bit more inclusive. Give people the opportunity to supplement some costs in place of service. As far as orientation and education, I had it on there. I don't know if it's there. Our apologies to you, Dave. You're a champ. But you're also the reason why we have to headstrong and figure out what are some of our barriers to making membership a little bit simpler, and how can we clean that process up? So we got to clean that process up, and we're going to work on doing that and make it much more inclusive, make that onboarding more streamlined, as well as orientation. I found something from one of the groups in the Philippines. One of the previous, I believe she was one of the presidents, said, our club has veered away. This is with regards to orientation. Our club has veered away from the traditional formal Rotary orientation, where we give the full history of Rotary, including the history of our 70-year-old club. We make the members comfortable in an ambience of club fellowship and camaraderie. Information about our clubs passed on as part of an informal conversation. We also engage their family members into the conversation. We make them feel that Rotary is all about family, and so far it works. This is just one group, one thing they're doing different. And all I'm doing by saying this and putting this out there is saying, we could be doing things that work for us that might be different than what was done in the past, that might make it more, let's just say, interesting, make people want to be here. As far as, I'm just going to add that to health and welfare. I talked to Fred this morning. He did want me to pass on that he took a spill. He fell on, I think it was on the 4th, and I forgot if it was a joint or something, and they just brought him in kind of as caution. Well, he had a whole bunch of infections, I think, from the previous hospital stay. And that's why he's in the hospital, not necessarily from his fall, but they found other things because of that. He's in good spirits, but he really is just like, I don't know, we'll see. So that's where we're at on that. Anything you'd like to add there, Mr. Peters?
You did great. Thank
You always do great. Thank you. I think that's it. Yeah. I got to go kayaking. Thank you.
All right, well, if Nick is into kayaking, and I happen to have heard that Dave, our new member, may also like kayaking, so maybe this whole kayaking thing is a good opportunity. Thank you so much for Jeremy and Nick. I'd like to invite up next our philanthropy committee, which we have today representing that is Ellen Brothers. The chair, Joel Fike, unfortunately couldn't be with us today, that he is actually at the funeral right now for Mike Zelli. So our thoughts are with him and his colleagues.
Elizabeth. I chose to bring a smaller version. Not sure the wisdom of that, but so philanthropy. And what's this about not being a check writing? Just kidding. So the philanthropy committee is made up of subcommittees that were under several different clusters. And so that was, I think, kind of a major change to this reorganization. So it's bringing those similar groupings all under one umbrella. And Joel Fike is the chair, so I am filling in for him. And so we are, we've invited, people that have been on those subcommittees to maintain their position. Elizabeth Cummins is one with the new projects committee, and thank you for continuing. I'm not actually sure we asked her to. We're just kind of hoping she didn't notice, and we're just moving right into next year. And the committee members that serve with her. But essentially with philanthropy, it's got multiple functions. Philanthropy for us as a club is about, supporting our community, from local grant making to all the way to international contributions. And with that comes stewardship. And we feel that we want to make sure that our club, because each and every one of you, gives through Rotary, that you are aware of how your contributions are being utilized. And there's always been reports and some special presentations, but we want to be a little bit more intentional about making sure that that's a very regular part of, maybe not every meeting, but more frequently, so that all, everyone feels good about, what they're investing in. And it also will help you in terms of, encouraging other people to join Rotary, because you'll know how Rotary is making such a difference in the world. And our club is also going to be, helping to lead the encouragement of membership to contribute in their variety of ways to do that. And service is certainly one of them. And we'd like to have some stronger collaboration with all of the other committees that, we can, maybe enhance like membership, for example, and what can we provide to them when they're onboarding new members to help them understand the impact of philanthropy through our club. To maybe the social committee, there might be an opportunity to do some service activities that could also be considered social. And, we I don't want to say kill two birds, but, kill two birds with one stone. So, and then revive it. And so, those are some of the things we're talking about. Rotary International and Folio Plus, those happen, more the national level. And thank you, Rob Bennett, who's going to be our lead on that. And he'll be reporting on the things that are happening with our club's contributions. And the other probably item that everyone's just dying to know about is the golf outing. So we know that that's kind of under review. Steve Jadwin's been able to give good feedback about that. So whether we have, continue the golf outing or we choose something new to do, this committee will kind of lead that. And again, that's going to end up being a very collaborative effort. So what does a kind of signature fundraiser look like for our club? Maybe it's time to choose something different, something new. And of course, throughout all of this, we want to, make sure we're incorporating DEI and everything from our strategic planning, or strategic plan. Engagement is really important with philanthropy. If people don't feel engaged, they're not going to be interested in giving. And as we bring new members in, as the ages of our membership is diverse, we want to make sure there's opportunities and within philanthropy that everybody feels confident and capable of participating in their own way. So that's what we have right now. And if anyone is interested in helping with the philanthropy committee, just contact Jill Fike.
Thank you, Ellen. Yes. So also in there are things like, as we're figuring out, like, we want to continue this kind of event or explore something else, like that's where, even if you're not signed on for a full committee assignment, like your ideas in generating some of these things, to know where the interest lies, that's really important. So at whatever level you want to step forward and engage, there's room for you. We'd love to have you. So we have also the service committee, and our service committee is so dedicated to service that they're actually involved with other duties and responsibilities at the moment. So Amy Krug is the chair of the service committee, and Joe Martin is the co-chair. Neither of them could be here at the moment, so I will just run through a couple of the points that they asked me to make on their behalf. So the service committee, this is intended to help mobilize us in support of various projects that correspond to the 5 different areas of service that Rotary International has. So that includes things like community service. Some past examples of things we've done along that line might be like the Food Bank Saturdays or reading to kids. The vocational avenue of service, where I know we had a couple Rotarians, Jerry Hill and Bobby McCummela, this past spring that did mock interviews with some students from Mott Middle College as part of their graduation exit process. We have New Generations, which is really kind of youth themed sort of things, which might involve our support for the Rotaract Club. And I know that Dawn Hibbert has said that she's interested in helping to re-engage with that between COVID and young people graduating from college, that there is an opportunity to reignite some relationships there. And then certainly international is the 4th area. And so our Haiti Well project is an example of that type of service activity. There is a new-ish area of service for Rotary International, which has to do with the environmental. And so an example of something that we just did recently with that is that I know Kyle and District Governor Mike and Anne Marie, and I think maybe a couple others, Bobby as well, thank you, participated in a cleanup activity of Riverbank Park. So those are some examples to give you a sense of, like, when we talk about these 5 different avenues of service, what could they look like? That's not to say that we have to do those same exact sort of things going forward. And in fact, I know that in talking with Joe and Amy, that they're really hoping to, similar to the philanthropy committee, be open to doing some of the same things we've done if that's where the interest of the membership is. But if the interest lies elsewhere, that they're very, very open to hearing from you and knowing what kind of service would you find meaningful to undertake. And so I hope that you'll be thinking about that, thinking about where would you like to make a difference as a Rotarian, and to be not at all shy about sharing those ideas. And then, as appropriate, helping to chime in with a little bit of elbow grease or some coordination support to help make it happen. So we do hope that we're going to have throughout the year at least 25 Rotarians. I put that in my annual goal set, at least 25 Rotarians participate in some form of service activity with the club. I would actually like to see that goal much higher. For a club of, roughly 100 people, I would like to see at least half of us involved in service. And it could be any type of service that you want under the sun, but it's really a matter of what's important to you. And we're planning on working with the service committee to try to offer at least 4 service opportunities. Again, that may end up being more than that, but a minimum of 4. So certainly if you've got those ideas or want to learn how to be more engaged with that, you can feel free to reach out to Amy Krug or to Joe Martin, or in a pinch, if you want to go through me, that's fine too. And then the last area of committees that we have is through our board committees. And so that's one that's, it can fall into a couple of different areas. There's certainly the strategic planning element that is the responsibility of the board committees. Not to say that that only includes board members, but usually, and I say usually, like we've been doing it this way for a really long time, like for the last year and a half or so, we have been working with primarily the president-elect, and the next up vice president, and then others as called upon or wish to participate, to make sure that our strategic plan is still where we need it to be and that it's on track for implementation. So we adopted a 3-year strategic plan this past September. And so you can see that we've already started implementing a lot of those things from it, and then there's more to come. But that is really intended to be a living document, not something on the shelf. It's something that we utilize to figure out where do we want to put our energy as a club. And with that, then there will be opportunities to amend it or update it as needed. So the board committees will be taking the lead on keeping an eye on that strategic planning process. And there's some other things based on like the bylaws that there's a responsibility around, say, like the elections and the nominating committee and that sort of thing. And then there's an ongoing responsibility around board development as well, so that we can try to make sure that board members and also other Rotarians, have an opportunity to be engaged, to be knowledgeable, and to be ready to lead. We are an organization of leaders, and so there's lots of opportunities to be involved in that leadership process, whether it's that you've got an interest in becoming a board member, whether it's that you've got an interest in helping to lead up some of these community projects. But truly our club is as vibrant as we make it. And knowing who we've got in the room and who we've got on Zoom, I feel really good about the place that we're in and where we're headed for the future. So I want to take a moment just to thank you from the bottom of my heart. The folks that have been participating and involved and contributing financially, contributing through your service, that you are Rotarians, and that's what it means, is to serve, and you do that. I also want to give a special thank you to those who have stepped up to lead our committees. So for administration, again, that's Jerry Hill and Patrick Naswell. For our communications, that's Marissa Pierce, as well as Connie Peters, Jeremy Peters, and Nick Godleski, who've been heading up our membership, as well as Joel and Ellen for philanthropy, and Amy and Joe for service. And I also want to say a special thank you to Anne Marie, that she is the next up. She's president-elect now. She's been extremely involved in a lot of these processes as well. And I would be totally remiss if I didn't thank Kyle again, that his, being bookended by Kyle and Anne Marie, that's a pretty dynamic group there. So they have been tremendous. District Governor Mike has been tremendous with this, as well as the board of directors and past presidents as well. I can't tell you how gratifying it's been to know that there is a whole cadre of people here to support and participate. And so thank you sincerely. In terms of our meeting today, I want to also say thank you to Rob Jewell for your inspirational message and kind of that call to really reflect on our Declaration of Independence and the responsibilities of citizenship. I want to thank Terry for his steadfast, stalwart assistance week in and week out. being at the registration desk and also so often just pitching in wherever he sees a need without even being asked. Want to thank today Bob Spilsky for helping with our bulletin notes, as well as Rob Bennett for setup and takedown and our impromptu raffler as well. So thank you all Rotarians. Please do join us next Friday at noon. We're going to be hearing from Linnell Jones McKinney from the Sylvester Broom Empowerment Village to hear more about what they've been up to lately with a variety of youth and community programs that they offer. And just leave you with the suggestion that as we go out into the world, let's think about how we imagine Rotary, what it means for us, for our club, for our community, and for our world. And with that, choking up on the mallet here. Thank you very
During the meeting, the Red Wings